Okay, so I am performing the heating ice lab. If you did not finish it, you can use my data for the remainder of it, or if you didn't start it, you can use my data, or if you like didn't time it right or something in class, again, you can use my data. So before I get started, I want you guys to make a hypothesis if you're not already. So pause this video right now and make a hypothesis. Okay. So after you've made your hypothesis, then you can start taking data. So I told everyone that you can either, squeeze your table into this. If it's too small, you can try to do it back here, but if that's too small, I made mine on a separate piece of paper entirely. So this is where I'm going to be taking my data, but I felt the need to write bigger so that you guys could, see what I'm writing and everything and get my data and everything. But if you're okay with writing in those small areas, then, feel free. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I have my 250 milliliter beaker. I'm just going to fill it with a little bit of ice. I'm just going to scoop it. That's a big chunk. Okay, that's probably enough. So I'm putting, up to about 150 milliliters in here. So now I'm going to add water to this because if I just put the thermometer in here like this, say this is like in the ice, right? If you look, it's not, touching anything. Okay, so I need water to be as chilled and cold as the ice so that I can get those temperature readings accurately. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit in here. I just need enough to cover the bottom bulb of the thermometer. So I'm gonna use cold water so I don't start heating it with hot, because I don't want to start heating it yet. Okay, that's probably good. All right, see, I just have enough to cover the bottom of that bulb. I didn't put too much in there. And now I'm gonna give it a second for it to, for the water to become as cold as the ice is, because I need that coldness to transfer. Or, if you want me to be technical about it, I'm waiting for the heat to go out of the water and into the ice, because we know heat moves from hot to cold. I'm going to be pausing this video periodically so that, you're not just watching me watch literally ice melt. So I'll, pause it here and there. So I'm sorry if it looks like I'm jumping around. It's just because I don't feel that you need to, watch me literally boil water all the way through. I will record the phase changes and I'll update you on my data and kind of explain to you what happened during the time I was paused, so that you get that information and you get that experience. But I don't think you need to watch me, melt ice and then boil it all the way through. I don't think that's necessary. Okay, so I've let this sit for a second. I'm just gonna stir it up a little bit. Okay, now that's probably fine. I'm going to record my, if you look, I have a minutes at 0 observation because I need to record my initial before I even put it on the hot plate at all. So my initial is, I'm looking at it, and I'm going to do this in Celsius just so you know. My initial is at -4. Okay, so that's going to be my first temperature recording. So -4, and then degrees Celsius. I probably won't write degrees Celsius all the way down, but note I did put the unit up here, okay? And then for my observation, I'm just going to say ice. I'm going to put complete ice because we haven't even started the heating process. Okay, so now I'm going to start heating it. I'm just going to set this on the hot plate, and I already have it plugged in and everything, so I'm going to turn this all the way up. I don't want the stirring one, so I'm just going to turn this all the way up and wait until it starts to heat up, and then I'll start recording my I'll start recording the data every minute, okay? So I know I'm not going to show you my every observation, but I am going to record the temperature every minute, just so you know, and I will update you with those values, you know, and I'll show you the phase changes and everything, okay? All right. Okay, so I've already taken a couple measurements, and if you can see, most of the ice is gone. I don't really think I have any in there. Yeah, it's all liquid now. So that's what I'm gonna write. So, and that just happened. It just finished melting. And so at minute 4, because it is now minute 4, I'm gonna record the temperature, and I'm gonna write liquid. Okay, so the temperature is about 35 degrees Fahrenheit, or sorry, Celsius. All these are in Celsius. And then these are the recordings I've had just like thus far. It pretty much stayed pretty close to 0 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature that water freezes at. So it stayed pretty close there, and then all of a sudden it started jumping up and going up really fast, okay? So I'm gonna make sure that I know when that happened. And you know, it was like partial ice here. Okay, and so you can kind of see it steaming. It's getting higher and higher. We see them at a little over 5 minutes now. So I'm going to make another observation. So now it's very close to 50. So I'm going to put my observation at 50 degrees Celsius, and it's still liquid. It's just pretty much the same. I might put, you know, a little steam, because if you look, there is a little steam on the glass of the beaker. Okay, so that's all I'm going to be doing for the next several minutes. I'll let you know when I think it's going to start boiling. You can see some water movement if you look really closely. You do see that water movement right there. It shows, you know, particles are moving a little faster, having more energy in there because you're adding heat. Okay, so I'll update you in a few. So I actually only paused the recording of this video for a minute because I'm noting that there are bubbles forming at the bottom, so it's starting a very light boil. I anticipate that it will start boiling in a minute or so, but I just reached minute 7, so I'm going to make that observation of temperature, and so we are at 88 degrees Celsius now, and I'm going to put, you know, small bubbles at bottom. Okay, and now we see some more rapid bubbling. Hi. We see some more rapid bubbling now, so we are getting into more of a boil. But we're not at minute 8 yet, so I can't quite make that next observation. So I guess we'll just wait. So we're approaching minute 8. If you look, we are now at minute 8. I'm going to make that observation. We are at 104 degrees Celsius. And so what we can say is that, you know, that's appropriate that this just started boiling because water does boil at 100 degrees Celsius. So we have seen all 3 phase changes, but now what we have to do in order to complete this graph is see that we have to make observations for 5 minutes after the beginning of boiling. And so we will do that. So it'll just look like this for the next 5 minutes or so while I let the water boil, but I'll continue to make observations. So I'm, you know, about 20 seconds away from making my 9-minute observation, but I am going to, for minute 8, I'm going to say it's at a full boil. So I'm going to say it's at a full boil. Okay. Just so I know, like, when it actually started boiling with big bubbles, not just like the little ones. So you can see all the condensation there. You can see the water vapor rising out of the beaker, so it is turning into a gaseous state. And we just hit 9 minutes, so I'm going to make that observation. It is at 105, I will say, degrees Celsius. And so for the next 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to make the same observation, so I'll update you. So I'm still at a full boil. I just took 2 more temperature measurements. I have 1 more to go, because that will make it 5, because I'm taking, actually no, I have 2 more to go because I need to do 5 minutes after the start of the full boil. So I am going to make 2 more observations, and then we'll be done with our observations, and we'll have our full set of data. Okay, so I just took my last temperature reading, and if you look, it's at 105. Okay, it's been at 105, and the water is obviously boiling very nicely. So we have all of our data set, so I'm going to display this for a second. You can pause the video here and record all the data that I got. I started out, close to 0 degrees Celsius, which, is the freezing point of water, so it makes sense that I would be around there until the water melted. Obviously the liquid melted, or the ice melted and became a liquid when you got far enough away from 0 degrees Celsius, and then it had a pretty significant increase, and then we had this kind of steady 105 degrees Celsius after it was at full boil, which makes sense because the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that concludes the lab. I'm going to discard this. So I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to dump this water out. So make sure you have this data for Monday, March 9th, because we will be making a graph to that in class, and I will show you exactly how. Okay. All right. So that concludes this demo in case you missed the lab or needed to finish your data or did not like your data.